Okay, so hello everyone once again. Um, we're starting this uh, general meeting for machine learning. Just to reiterate what I already said uh, without recording that uh, for the future meetings there will be option to come in person anyways. So there was some ambiguity during the last meeting. I've mentioned something about it being a hybrid, 1 week and then online in person. That's too complicated, obviously, and so we'll do hybrid going forward. Although we do still have shorter in-person meetings once, or not in person, but shorter meetings in general once every other week. So this uh, should be uh, relatively short. I think we should be able to finish quite fast with the pitches. And uh, the idea for the agenda for today's meeting is basically to again do project pitching. Uh, Hopefully you're able to come up with some sort of ideas and like to hear those. Um, we'll do a little bit of announcements for the next week. It's just basically one announcement, and the rest of the meeting, probably greatest portion of it, will form teams and uh, including if there are no project you're interested in that were pitched, you'd be able to join some of the uh, Kaggle competition standard projects that we would recommend, essentially. So for announcements, we're planning to do a social next week. And for that, we actually want to ask you for your opinion, what you'd like to do, essentially. So a few options that we have right now are to go bowling. I believe we have something on campus in Student Union, right? And that's something we could do after the meeting. Another thing that we could do after the meeting is get boba and play some board games. We did last semester. Would be cool to do something new. It's bowling. That'd be nice. And another, we also have options for to go like watch a movie or go hike. Those would likely require us to come up with some different meeting time for that. So, but regardless, if you want to go, if it's easier for you to do bowling or get boba any other time, also just mention what time works best for you. Is it the best after a meeting or some other time during like I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, or well, this is taking some time. Essentially, you just select some time when you're available here. So yeah, you just for example, I don't know, I'm available during Thursday, and that's the time window when I'm available. You'll be able to see who's available at that time, essentially. So specify any time that works for you. I'll delete test here. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. And of course, there's just few options that we have. Please feel free to add something else. We did have a few actually options for online thing as well, which we'll probably do separately. But yeah, if you have any other ideas or what we can do, it's easier to usually do something closer to campus. So if you have any sort of options where we could go, just fill in the other, and we'll actually add some of those here as well. The link is available on the slides, so if you can go there, you don't need to do this right now, just after the meeting. Any sort of comments or questions on that? Also, officers, feel free to like add something if I miss anything.
Yeah, I would say if you can, I'm sending the link for the form in chat as well. Just yeah, take a second to fill it out. It doesn't take too long. Um, and yeah, feel free to ask us any questions you have about this.
Okay, so we can return to this also later. Yeah, we are planning to have something for the hybrid meeting. One other thing, like nice thing, where we can get food after the meeting, and that's covered by the club. That's one other awesome benefit of being a recognized student org. So that's gonna be fun, and we'll see what ideas we'll come up with. On the other note, let's see what sort of project ideas, if anyone has project ideas. So let's do a raise of hand. Uh, who has project ideas? Who's ready to like talk about their project idea? Who's want to do a pitch? Let me bring up people here. Just you can raise your hand or speak up.
Vlad, I have a project proposal. Like if I would like to share it about it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks, Niveda. Sure, can you share your screen or do I need to give you permission? Let's see. I'll stop sharing mine. And okay, you should be able to share. Or do you need sharing or not necessarily?
Yeah, I can share right now. Okay. So my project idea is emotional.
I think we're having trouble with internet connection.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to hear you, unfortunately.
Okay. Niveda, are you still there? I think we're losing your audio.
Hey Vlad, actually she's facing some trouble with the internet, so I think she needs some time.
Sorry, could you repeat?
She's having an internet glitch, so I think she needs some time.
Okay, yeah. That's all right. Let's see. Does anyone else have a project idea that they'd like to pitch? Perhaps anything you found on the Kaggle you would be interested in looking into?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry for that.
It's all right.
So yeah, so ECG signal is electroencephalogram that is generated in the brain, and we'll collect the signal using the electrodes, and we'll recognize the pattern of the signals. So it's a bit of biology background. I wanted to share it to understand how the signal is emerging. So neurons is the basic fundamental cell of the brains, and this is the neuron. And so dendrites are the the part in which the cells collect the signal, and in the cell body the cells decide whether this cell has to trigger a response or not. And if the cell decided to trigger a response, then the electric signal is passed through the axons, and from axons at terminal it's passed to the other signal. So in the brain, like emotions is emerging from different emotions emerges from different part of the brain. For example, fear is it's generated in amygdala. It's related to anger, fear, horror, and that kind of emotions. And hypothalamus is where you'll feel happiness and feeling loud. So different part of the brains gives out different types of emotions, and using the ECG signal we have to recognize the type of emotion that this particular person are feeling. So so here are the axons, and this is the skull and scalp. So electrode will be placed over the skull to detect the active neurons, which part of the brain are shooting out the signal right now. So a small frequency, a signal with varying frequency and amplitude will be generated, and we use electrode to detect the electrical potential of the signal. So these are the different electrode nodes that can be placed over the skull. And so these green parts are the selected area that gives out emotion. So all the researchers have conducted right now, they have used the signals that is generated from these nodes. So the idea behind is simple. So once we get the signal, we remove the artifacts, because it's the skull is between the signal and the the sensor. So it produces a lot of artifacts, and also there are other physical, if there is any physical movement or any movements that could also produce a signal that which is not related to emotion. So we'll do pre-processing steps where we reduce all those artifacts, and then we collect the features in time or in frequency mode. For example, the features we collect will be standard deviation, variations, wavelength, and so on. And then we'll use classification model to identify what type of emotion this particular person is feeling right now. So there are many studies conducted, and let's see. So this is the basic model. So given a signal, we extract the features of happiness, pleasant, excited, calm and relaxed, or miserable, depressed, distressed. So these are like basic emotions that are extracted from different electrode nodes. And then we use a classifier to identify the emotions. So I collected, there aren't many sources publicly available for EEG data sets. It's common for medical. It's many data sets are not available publicly. Also ECG is one of the, it's not very easy to obtain. It will be obtained only in the laboratory. place. So I collected the data that was used in this research. So I thought I'll start, using this data and see how well I can do, and then I'm planning to improve further on after getting a basic understanding of how it works. So in this research, the signal that I've collected has come from this paper, and they've collected ECG signal by allowing the the people to play. So the people will be playing games such as horror or relaxed games that trigger different kind of emotions, and they have got the signals during playing, and they have collected signals, and they have done used a created machine learning model to identify the emotions. And there is also another study which is most commonly and it's most cited uh, experiment. It is called data set. It's data set for emotional analysis. So this data set is not publicly available, but we can request for the data set, and I'll be requesting for the data set today. I think today, yeah, I'll be mailing them today and see if I can get the data, then I can use much more data for this project. So yeah, so that's all about this idea. And yeah, if any one of you are interested, we can talk about it. So do you guys have any questions regarding this?
Wow, this is awesome.
Thank you.
This is exciting.
Ooh, super cool.
Niveda, I don't really have a question, but I have a few data sets that someone I know worked on a similar project. So I guess you could take a look at those data sets.
Yeah, sure, of course. Thank you.
I
Thanks a
just
lot.
posted them in the comments. in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anjali.
Yeah, I would imagine you would need to collect, and then how do they make these data sets? They collect the data and then they label based on video or based on
Yeah, they collected. So after collecting the signals after each game, they'll ask the people to tell what they felt. So that will be used as a label data. So with the help of that label data, we will be predicting.
I see, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not, so emotional recognition is not only confined to ECG signals, and nowadays, even with images, videos, and even with CCTV cameras, they are predicting emotions through, face reaction or hand or leg movements. Even by walking, they could able to predict the emotions that you're facing. Like, it's really interesting field.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And yeah, I guess once you know the activity or the model of the brain activations, you can map it to, you could just do a lot of recordings for like people working or expressions.
Yeah, we do have a lot of data for images or video, like recognizing the emotions through them, but I wanted to start it with the ECG signal, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, that's exciting. Does anyone have any other questions? Awesome, thanks, Niveda. That's definitely very exciting.
Thank you so much.
And let's see, does anyone else have project ideas and anything they want to present? You don't necessarily even have to present slides or anything. Just if you have any general direction, that's all right too.
I have an idea, but I don't really have slides to share. So could I just orally pitch it?
Yeah, it's all right. Of course, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so the idea is breast cancer classification. So it could be done in two ways, like depending on the kind of data we have. So on Kaggle, there's both kinds of data available. So first one is it's like a tabular data. It's called Wisconsin data. It is from UCI. So basically, what this data is it's just a tabular data. So we can apply regular machine learning. We could apply regular machine learning algorithms for it and try to based off of the data. So this data contains all the values that clinicians extract while in order to make decisions of whether or not the tumor is cancerous. So through that, we could just apply regular machine learning models and come up with a prediction as to whether the person it is malignant or benign, right? So malignant means it is actually cancerous. So, and this is one kind of data, and there's also another kind of data which is whole slide images. This is the pathology data set. Even this is available on Kaggle. And with this data set, what you do is we have whole slide images of from mammograms, I believe. So that is basically you have image patches of breast tissues, and it's kind of like an image classification problem. So you go through those images and you can apply different algorithms like CNNs and try to classify whether or not there is breast cancer. So I've actually worked on a project like similar before, but what we did there was we used a pre-trained model. So we used a ResNet, which was pre-trained on ImageNet dataset, and then we tried to fine-tune that, and then we just used that on the whole slide images. So that did not give us great accuracy since the model was trained on ImageNet, right? So which has different kinds of images and not just medical images. So I recently came across a paper that said if you train your images on medical data, that is your whole slide images, and then you try to apply it, so basically regular supervised problem kind of thing, then you can get a better classification accuracy. So I was thinking to try and test that out. So if someone is interested, the whole idea is to once first start and maybe try using the regular tabular data, and like after getting a hold of it and understanding how it all works, then we can move on to whole slide images, because whole slide images usually take a bit longer in order to process. So you need more processing time to complete that project. So yeah, so that's the idea. If there's any questions or if anyone is interested, we can start working on this.
That's awesome. Thanks, Anjali.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. We have a few medical related projects. That's awesome. We will have so after we're done with project ideas, we will at some point closer to the end of the meeting, we'll go break out into breakout room. We'll make a few breakout rooms for you guys who have project ideas, and for interested people, everyone who's interested can sort of join. If you're available to like stay and talk to potential members who are interested, that'd be awesome. and yeah, you would be able to start working on that. So that's great. That's great. Let's see. So it sounds like there are a few data sets available, yes, on the Kaggle you mentioned.
Yes, they are available on Kaggle. And they're also publicly available. So it's not really difficult to search for them if the Kaggle ones are not sufficient.
Mhm. That's awesome. Let's see. Any other questions from anyone? Yeah, as I mentioned, you also be able to ask more questions when we in the end of the meeting. And okay, so anyone else, like general, maybe even just the direction of interest, general project you would be interested in?
Hey, hi.
Hey, Savik.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to work on this particular competition in Kaggle, which is named as Natural Language Processing with Disaster Tweets. So can I tell about it orally, as I don't have a PPT and all?
Of course, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically in this competition, there is a data set which has a lot of tweets. So in this competition, our basic final task is to tell whether the tweet was related to a disaster or was it just a normal tweet. Because sometimes we use different words, which we like, there is this example where look at the sky. At last night, it was ablaze. So generally ablaze is a word which is related to a disaster or something, but it didn't mean in that sense. So our goal is to differentiate the tweets from disaster and which are normal tweets, and give them and categorize them either as zeros or ones. So we can start from basic count vector, like basic machine learning things like count vectorizing, doing that things. And if we are able to get better results, we can stop it there. Or if you want, we can explore a bit into deep learning and see if there are any models which we can use to get better accuracy, where we can classify tweets in a better way and see if and final goal is to see if you are able to segregate the tweets from disaster tweets and normal tweets. There is an available data set in Kaggle. It has approximately 7,000 rows, I guess. And yeah, some of them already have a target column.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very good to work with something that has available data sets, and that's great.
So if anyone wants to work with NLP, I mean, that would be better. They can join or we can collaborate on it, because I think this is like an entry level project into NLP, because we can start with basics and, get a understanding of NLP on real-time data. Yeah, that's.
Awesome. Thanks, Savik. That's great. So for all of the projects, project ideas, if project leads, if you guys could add that to a project list doc, that'd be great. So if you look at the slides or in the announcements, I just updated the link. You should see ML at SGSU 2022 Spring project list. So I can share an example project list for what we did, how it looked like last few semesters. Bear with me, I'll bring it up in a second. So let's see. Desktop one. All right. Basically, guys, if you could add the title of your project, a short description, what area. So of the project. That's NLP or traditional ML or computer vision that we had for a few projects today. How can we contact you? What's your name? Your nick on the Discord? How can people find you? And so if you are interested in joining, on the other hand, you'd be able to use that doc to join some of the projects that are going. If you do have a preference for how many people you want in the team, so usually it's kind of harder to manage more than 4, I would say, people in general, more than 4 or 5. Then you do want to specify how many spots you have available. So do put your projects in the doc. We do have, if you go to the slides or a announcement on the Discord, you should be able to see this link to the project list. So just yeah, put your ideas in there, and that way somebody from offline, also whoever who is on this meeting right now, you can guys use that to set up the project signups.